In this episode, we'll be introducing our guest, EsotericSean. We'll be talking about handhelds. And of course, we'll be talking about games we have or haven't been able to play. Welcome to BRB Gaming. I am your host today, Retro GM. With us, our guest, the Best Coast West Coast, Gameboy modder, EsotericSean.
Hello.
The high score extraordinaire, Stubborn Pixel.
At least in Barbie games.
And the tech wielding giant, Thor.
I play FF7 for Wotan.
Fantastic.
I wanted to invite this episode's guest, aside from being a personal friend of mine. My favorite gaming console is the Game Boy. And because of that, I got a lot of my parts from this specific modder, EsotericSean.
I don't think anybody can blame you there. I mean, the Game Boy, especially the DMGs and the colors, all of them have a pretty extensive list of mods available to consumers nowadays.
That is true.
Yeah, man. It's just a classic, just iconic looking handheld, and the feel of it, it's just, warm memories.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that style of console lasted for so long for very good reasons, with the exceptions of, mashing your contrast wheel on the DMG to save your Pokemon game before your batteries died,
Or taking a flashlight with you under the covers when your parents sent you to bed.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, I'm not going to sleep.
When they came out with the Flex Light finally for it.
Oh, yeah.
That was a game changer.
But even before that, there was this monster application that you would put it on and make it a final form like Gundam.
With the magnifying glass.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude.
But nowadays we have all sorts of mods for it. I mean, really cool, crazy stuff. Simple things like battery mods all the way up to bivert mods, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
That's where I started. I started with the backlight mods. And the specific game system I wanted to try out at first was the Game Boy Color. But at the time, there was no backlight mods available until someone decided to make a ribbon cable to attach the Game Boy Advance SP to the Game Boy Color.
Whoa.
Oh, the screen, you mean?
The screen, yeah.
Oh, cool.
What can you tell us about that, Sean?
Yeah, that's how I got into the Game Boy modding, was with that AGS 101 ribbon.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody else was doing it at the time. Like, it was just like this brand new thing, and it felt kind of like Game Boy modding was this like new frontier of, and for some reason, like, there was just tons and tons of people interested in it, and I gave it a shot, and I started like an Instagram account, and I kind of just like came across this whole community of people who were doing this too. And yeah, I kind of just started from there.
Then you started selling the mods.
I did start selling them. Yeah. I did sell them for a while, and it was incredible. Like, there was like hundreds of people, and I quickly got overwhelmed with like how many orders I was getting. But thankfully now, like, the mods have gotten easier to do, and more people are doing them. So.
Yeah, I was surprised with the retro community, how quickly people sort of attach themselves to devices once they figure out that not just that there are upgrades, but that there's a usable platform for their favorite games, how quickly that goes. Mm-hmm. So what kind of mods have you been working on lately, bud?
Actually, lately I've kind of been giving up modding, and I've been focusing more on game development. And
okay.
It's kind of an interesting turnaround, because now it's like, it kind of feels like things have kind of finalized, and more and more people are able to do the mods themselves now, because they've gotten so popular that they've gotten easier and easier to do.
Well, and people like yourself putting up guides and things like that.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of people doing that now too. So. Mm-hmm.
But also the parts have become easier to install. There's a
Yeah.
full-on just drop-in for the Game Boy Color, so I don't have to modify the shell to my limited edition Game Boy Colors.
I have noticed that a lot with a lot of not just Game Boy mods, but mods in general, is how extensively the shells need to be modded sometimes. Like the IPS stuff for the Game Boy Advance. I mean, what's going on with that? How come are they just taking like stock parts and then applying them to the Game Boys? Is that what they're doing?
Yeah. They're like actual like cell phone screens, and then people just
Mhm.
make like ribbons to like convert the signals, and
Okay.
yeah, it just works. But they've slowly been like discovering or like finding old stock of like certain like screens that are like, the correct size, and
Yeah.
so some of them, for some of the consoles, they've gotten pretty lucky. So like the Game Boy Color, they got really lucky, and they just like were able to fit it in perfectly without having to do any modifications now. But
That's
yeah, they're
great.
still working on some of them.
It's nuts. And I was watching your video earlier, Sean. You posted about your whole backstory about modding. With you starting and also coding in TI-83 plus calculators, which was, by the way,
Yeah,
that was awesome. I love my TI-83 plus. Great to plug in that link cable and do like chat between your friends in math class and
yeah.
get away with some trouble. But I was watching the video and you were talking about how when you started out modding that it was fairly profitable because the parts were so cheap. But as you started doing it more, it became more popular, so they started increasing the prices. Is that still the case, or is the price still really high, so it's expensive to become a modder? Is the price for entry just too much?
It kind of fluctuates, and there's like a whole bunch of different aspects to it. Like so many people have gotten involved with it now that the actual like price of like a Game Boy Color, like unmodified on eBay, has gone from like I used to buy them for like $8, and now you go on
Yeah.
Yeah.
eBay and they're like $60. It's like
Yep.
Oof.
so there's still definitely money
Wow.
to be made, but you're going to be trying to sell them for 200-300, and there's not as many people who are going to pay that much for.
Right, because you gotta add that markup into your price.
Right, and there are other devices within that price range if you look around that can do more than just Game Boy games as well.
Not only that, but being that it's such a saturated market and the parts are so easy to come by and there's a lot more people doing it, they're selling it for a lot less. They're selling
The
the
finalized
competition. Yeah,
units.
the finalized unit is selling for a lot less because you're trying to get it out of your place.
Mhm.
Right, and then you were taking pre-orders, it sounded like, when stock was cheap, so you kept buying up and collecting these pre-orders, but then when you went to build the units, then the prices had been raised, so it was hard for you to make a profit, and you were eating the cost in the end.
Yeah, because I was using those AGS 101 screens, and then you know I guess they don't make those anymore, so there's like a limited stock out there, and they kind of just dried up. So they became really rare and expensive.
Dude, that's nuts, but you were kind of a pioneer in that field, right? I was looking at your Instagram today, and I'm like, "Dude, like, this is wild." Like, you got a whole, like, reality you built for yourself, and you were one of the first people to do it, it looked like.
One of the first, yeah. There's a couple other people, but it requires like heavily modifying the shells and like gluing in 3D printed parts, and yeah, it was a lot of work to get those working. But
I remember ordering the cut off screws so that I can make
yeah,
the the Game Boy look like it's original, even though that screw it's not attached to anything. It's just glued there to look like it's a real thing.
So, it sounds like there's multiple businesses out there now you could go out and buy one of these things from. If I don't have a modified Game Boy. I've never had, the backlit mod or anything like that. If I wanted to buy one today, would I go through you? Are you still doing this business, or would you recommend I go through one of your competitors? If I wanted to just pick up a Game Boy just to have one, what would you recommend?
I'd almost recommend you trying to do it yourself. Like it's so easy now. Just like try to go on YouTube and look up some tutorials, and it's so easy to just pick up a Game Boy and a screen and put it together, and you know. But there are
Yeah.
plenty of people out there. There's lots of people out there who, they're actual, who they really know what they're doing, and a lot of these older consoles, they need capacitor replaced, like other components are,
Right.
they're so old that so like some of these people really go through and take the time to like clean the power switch and make sure
Right.
everything is fully functional. And,
Do a real refurbish on them.
Right.
yeah.
That might be the way to go. Classically, I've not I've not treated my handhelds well when I start to open them up. Thor can vouch for this. The last time I opened up product was the Retroid Pocket 2. First thing I did was break the ribbon to the left joystick. So
That was
well,
attached to the back though, right?
it was, yeah.
When I opened it up, I was sitting there before I saw what had happened. I was sitting there thinking, well, I may be able to fix the ribbon cable. Then I opened up and it broke off literally right at the pin clip right
Right.
there. Like, no, there's nothing I can do about this.
Yeah, I thought that was terrible, but I just
The good thing about Game Boy is you don't need to worry about any ribbon cable like that. They're more sturdy. They're built a little bit tougher. I mean, I guess they were designed to be played by little kids, so they're a little bit more rugged.
right.
When I put when I put my Game Boy Color together, I had so many parts. I'd spent so much money on a soldering iron, on a Dremel, on this kind of proxy, on that kind of part.
Yeah.
After all said and done, I spent about as much as I would if I bought a new Switch. But nowadays, you just need the screwdriver, you need the Game Boy, you need the kit. You open it up, you drop it in, you close it up, and it's ready to go.
Wow. Okay. Maybe that's not too hard for a handheld breaker like me. I like it.
Yeah, you won't open it up and immediately break it.
Where it gets weird now, though, is putting in all the like Raspberry Pi compute modules and things like that into these
Right.
old handhelds. Watching Game Boy Advance modding, and have you guys seen this? The drop-in motherboard replacement with the Raspberry Pi compute module on it.
I tried that
That
actually. I
wow.
didn't like the startup. The startup was like 40 seconds, and I'm
Mm.
used to like the turning on the Game Boy and maybe a 10-second intro, and then it's ready to go. So
I didn't know
I
the
put
startup time was that slow.
yeah, that was for the Raspberry Pi Zero. It could be easier with a CM3 or the Pi 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll see. I got my Pi 4 on the way because I got the Pi Boy DMG
Yeah.
kit. So I'm about to put that together. I'm just waiting for my spot in the queue.
Well, I'm-
people think that Retroid have a long wait time, but I've been waiting 3.5 months now for my
Oh,
Pi Boy, and I'm not stressed yet. I see I'm in the queue. And they took this DMG modding thing to a whole nother level.
yeah. I was starting to get maybe a tiny bit stressed out with Retroid for my wait because I was like, oh man, I really need these to be here before Christmas after ordering
Right.
in August. So.
I know.
But yeah, I'm really excited to see what you do with that DMG stuff.
Yeah, I'll report back to you guys. In the meantime, I really do want to try one of these. Probably a Game Boy Color mod is what I'd go
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
Speaking of Game Boy Color, what's your favorite console, Sean?
Definitely Game Boy Color. Actually, now that you just say
Yeah.
that. But yeah, when I just moved to San Diego, and the only two consoles I took with me were my Switch and my Game Boy Color.
Nice.
Why is that one so special?
I don't know. I guess growing up, that was like I started out with the Game Boy Pocket, but then I quickly got the Game Boy Color, and I had that one for like many years. So I just feel like the most nostalgic about it. And, yeah, there's just something about it.
That's interesting. That was
I'm-
the least nostalgic one for me. During the Game Boy Color line, I really got into PlayStation RPGs, so
Ooh.
I was mostly playing that. Maybe it's like, okay, so this is the one that I didn't have the most experience with. This is the one I'll have some dedication to.
I think for me, it would probably be the GBA SP, just because of the availability of all the previous games and the backlight and the charging.
Easy, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are we talking
that
about
would.
handheld, or are we talking about consoles in general?
Oh, I'm just talking about handheld right now. Consoles in general that's fraught.
Yes, we're talking about
Yeah,
handhelds.
okay. All right, just making sure.
Handhelds.
Semantics.
But yeah, just the built-in backlight and the form factor, even though it was a clamshell, it didn't have the classic profile. I really enjoyed it.
When it's opened up, it looks like the classic profile.
Mhm. But being able to throw in, I'm a huge Tetris player, I always have been. Being able to throw in my old games in general and play them on there as well as the new stuff that just seems so freaking cool to me as a kid.
So a good choice. How about you, Stubbs?
I still got to say the DMG. That's just I have the
Respect.
most nostalgia for it, man. It's it's the worst light. It's probably the worst of all of them, but it's that big fat boy. Can't deny it.
Something about that black and white two
Yeah.
button thing that
Yeah.
I mean, people spend all their time trying to make music for that. Like
Yeah.
there's artists that dedicate their time to chip tunes.
Right.
It has the most expensive games.
There was something I noticed about the RP2 was there were a bunch of people in the Discord asking, if they could make music on it. Did you guys see
Sure.
that
True.
stuff?
No,
Yeah.
I didn't.
I'd never thought of that before. Like,
Well, there's a microphone. You might as well.
yeah.
It runs Android. But I mean, doing it on a DMG, I actually had never heard of that before. I'm gonna have to look this up because that sounds
That is,
fantastic.
That's a rabbit hole, bud.
I forgot the four-letter acronym. It's like LDSJ,
LSDJ.
yeah, LSDJ.
LSDJ, cool. The only accessory I really knew about it was the printer. I
Mhm.
mean, it was awesome. I had a Game Boy printer. You could print out pictures of, you had to get the Game Boy camera with it, but you could print out pictures of your face and your
Oh, that's
cat.
a whole other esoteric art lifestyle is using the
Right.
Game Boy Color camera and stuff. I think original Game Boy camera
Yeah.
to take pictures, artsy fartsy stuff.
I remember that um three colored video that you made, Sean. You made a specific mod for the Game Boy Color.
Yeah, the Game Boy camera is just like monochrome, really simple little camera. But if you take three pictures, put a red filter, green filter, blue filter in front of it, you can combine those three pictures like in Photoshop or whatever, and turn it into like a full color picture. So
Huh.
kind of a fun little thing to do.
Cool.
So you went from modding, and lately you've been transitioning to Game Boy development, or game development in general, actually.
Ooh.
What you
Tell us
working on?
Yeah, what you working on?
So there's a pretty big community now for developing new Game Boy games, and that's something
Okay.
that I've always wanted to do. So I started making one game, and then I kind of switched to something which I thought was going to be simpler. But yeah, so I'm working on this game. It's called Nutmeg's Nut Quest. You're this little squirrel, it's kind of a little platformer, and it's kind of a simple story. You're out of acorns. You have to feed your babies, and you have to just go collect acorns. But yeah, that's something
I'm
I'm
already
working
getting like classic feels from that. All right.
Yeah,
That sounds
on.
like so many games, random games I played when I was a kid.
it sounds really cool. Is it like a riff or an homage to Conqueror's Bad Fur Day in any way?
Uh, I don't want to say like Conquer's Bad Fur Day. Like my favorite was always like Mario, So,
Mhm.
but
It's like,
yeah, it's definitely gonna have those kind of classic, Game Boy
That Meg
vibes.
might have dated Conker. Might have, if he wasn't with Barry.
uh,
So like are we talking like a live system, a heart system? What are you working on with it?
I think it would be pretty simple, probably like a life system.
Mhm.
Just,
Let's say the first thing I think of with that is the NES Chippendale Rescue Rangers games. Anybody else remember those by any chance?
Honestly, I don't.
yeah, I've not played those games.
They were
I feel like
extremely difficult platformers, at least from what I remember.
is it like DuckTales or any of those?
It's sort of like that, but it's maybe a little faster and a little more dangerous.
I like Fast and
There's
Dangerous.
always stuff on the screen that you gotta kind of jump around and avoid.
You only had 1 HP or 1 heart,
Yeah, it was difficult.
1 life. You're also working on another game, right? A Switch game.
Oh, Switch game.
Yeah. So in order to make a Switch game, you kind of have to like have something kind of released, and then Nintendo will like approve you into the
Yeah.
program. But yeah, that's my goal, is to eventually, fully transition into game development and making games for Mac, PC, Nintendo Switch. And so yeah, I'm working on this other game. It's called Retirement Center. This is kind of like my big, dream project. And it's this story about this old man who moves into a retirement home, and has like all the amenities for a retirement home. You can swim in a pool, you can do like old people exercises, and then there'll also be like a story where like you fall in love with this old lady, and then you realize that there's like this kind of like this dark side to the like administration, and suddenly some of the old people are starting to go missing, and yeah, so it's kind of a mystery, kind of reminiscent of like a Link's Awakening style of game, like top down.
Cool.
That's so rad. I can't wait to try these out. Do you have anything near like beta or alpha testing stages yet, or is it kind of still in the early development?
Retirement Center is still early development. That's something I've been like, it's a really passion project that I've been working on for quite a few years now. But my Game Boy game, Nutmeg Nut Quest, that one's actually almost done. So
Nice.
Very cool.
I'll be excited to try those out.
Well, I look forward to Retirement Center hitting that Stardew Valley success, because that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But that's not the only games that you've developed. You've also, like you were saying earlier, you've developed games for the TI-83 Plus console.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Mini Tetris, right?
Yeah.
The first one I think was, I made Mini Tris, and
Nice.
yeah, I did quite a few things. That was how I learned programming back in high school.
Mm-hmm.
But I never like released anything. That was just like for fun with my friends.
Between your friends. Like, I just had to bring that up because I used to do the exact same thing. Except I stopped coding after that. That's where my career in coding ended. But I loved making a port of Risk on it. It was all a menu-based system with no graphics, but that the T83 Plus was amazing.
Did you guys see that that TI finally started locking down those things so you couldn't do that?
What?
Yeah, because
garbage.
kids were loading up games that had like a backdoor in the games to test answers.
Oh. We used to do that in high school too. You
Well,
put the
yeah.
answers in the programming.
Yeah.
So you edit program, and there's the answers to the test. Fuck. That's sorry for the segue, but that's
Hopefully no teachers are listening.
yeah, we don't know anything about any sort of test cheats.
Nope.
Never heard anything about cheating.
I certainly never did that, ever.
I never have done that.
Sorry, Mrs. Dorsey.
Sorry, Mr. Webkey. He took my calculator away so many times. I was a bad boy. Bad boy.
I remember in your video you said that you would link your TI-80 calculators with each other with a cable, and you'd run the cable inside your clothes. How long were these cables? How far away were your friends?
So the cable that it came with was actually fairly long, but not long enough to like link it between people. So I cut one up, and I just like found some wires, like random wires, and like I just made this super long one. And we like ran it through our clothes and like down the floor, put our backpacks on top of it, and yeah.
You could have shocked yourself, no?
No, just a tiny little
No.
cable.
That's incredible. And you probably wrote a little chat program, right? Where you sent
Yeah,
a
like a little
message,
instant messenger. Yeah.
That's fun.
and you had to hit enter and then like wait for the response, and it said receiving data, and you had to wait like 10 seconds.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
Wild, man.
We're innovators back then.
Oh yeah, we had to be.
Original pirates.
Oh yeah.
So from TI-83 Plus, now to Game Boy, and now to Switch. It's I'm excited to try these games out.
Those are some generational jumps there, huh?
Yeah.
What game have you been playing lately, Sean?
Well, I've been much more focused on developing now, and I haven't really had time to play games. I did recently start playing a little bit of Among Us just because I hear so much about it, and it
Hmm.
was actually kind of a fun little game. But
You had a crazy island on Animal Crossing.
yeah, I played
I
Animal
think
Crossing for
I,
quite a
I think a
while.
lot of people really got into Animal Crossing after it came out. It was just like the perfect timing for that game to come out.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah,
I've never played Animal Crossing.
That's okay.
I only played 15 hours. It wasn't for me. I was trying to actually get my wife into it because she likes those kind of games without life
Hmm.
meters and, you know, sudden deaths or whatever.
Well, adding in this, I think it was this last one added in the option for multiple people to play on the same map,
Yeah,
right? So,
but she would need her own Switch, so she couldn't edit my island, or she could only had she had a limited option to, you know, work up from as a secondary user to my Switch.
mhm.
So it just didn't work out.
I personally have been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I actually took some time. I stepped away from the RH Discord a little bit and got some of my work done a little extra fast, and have been murdering the shit out of people with an axe all week. So,
I
or
love
for
that.
the past few days.
Which system did you pick it up for?
PS4.
Nice. I
Yeah.
think I'm going to pick it up for PS4 too.
I usually get things on PC, but my wife really wanted to play it. So
Do you like it more than Origins or Odyssey?
so far, I think that Odyssey probably had the better story.
Okay. All right.
There's a few things that are a little jank right now because it just got released.
Right. And they
Um,
released that day 1 patch that comes out on day 14.
yeah, right.
Right.
So as soon as it gets, I'm not crapping on it, but as soon as that some of those bugs get worked out, just some of the weird stuff like you're in the boat, you are aimed toward the settlement, and it says the prompt pops up to go raid, right? And so you hit the button to raid, and it's like your boat must be pointed at the shoreline. And I'm like, motherfucker, I am pointed at the
Yeah,
shoreline. What are
I'm
you
in the general vicinity of the shoreline. Come on.
right?
But it wants you specifically lined up.
Yeah, there's just little things like that are just like, ugh, I paid the full price for the gold edition. I kept telling myself I wouldn't do that, but I did it anyway because Cyberpunk got delayed.
Come on, Ubisoft. Come
Yeah,
on.
but it's
I,
great. It's ultra violent.
yeah,
It connects with me on an ancestral level.
right. Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, you are the god of thunder.
I try.
And you do
Um,
look like a Viking. So
and then there's just something about running around burying an axe in people sometimes in a video game that's cathartic.
it's super cathartic. I should take a page out of your book and do something more violent because I've been playing Sonic on the Neo Geo Pocket. That's what I've been playing this week.
That's internal violence. That's what
Yeah,
that is.
I want to scream. I want to throw things just at people around me.
Buggy or what?
No, it's not buggy. It's just incredibly
hard.
hard.
I
It's
see.
the first Sonic game I've ever played, to be honest. I'm doing a lot of firsts lately. First Castlevania, and now first
Mhm.
Sonic.
You started with that one as your first Sonic game?
Yeah, right?
You're a masochist or what?
I guess I am, man. Like, I didn't realize, like, I'm like, this seems like a simple, easy entry into Sonic. I played like the first level or two of played the first like couple levels of the originals, and I'm like, yeah, let's try a niche one. And it's crazy hard. I beat the game though after about a
Good.
week of effort, and now I'm going back to get the Chaos Emeralds, and I want to 100% it, so I get all my
Mhm.
retro achievements. But it's just too crazy, and I give up. So I put that I put that down, and now I've been playing a lot of Metal Slug. So
Okay.
I've never touched that
Yeah.
series before, but it's just a shoot 'em up, really fast paced, blowing the shit out of everything, and it's
Yeah.
much more relieving. It's also a difficult game,
Which
but
which version?
this one's Metal Slug X for the PlayStation, which I guess
Mhm.
is a remake of Metal Slug 2 for the Neo Geo. So I've never, this is the first year I've touched anything Neo Geo. Just it's kind of a cool, different alternative thing to Nintendo or Sony.
I've never touched Neo Geo personally. I've seen playthroughs of that Sonic game though, and I'm just like,
Really?
screw that. Yeah.
Dude, like Metal Sonic on stage 6, forget about it. Like, fuck that game. I was stuck on that one boss for 3 days. I had Cathonix, who's here next to me, by the way. Hi. Her and I both loaded my save file on our 2 Retroid Pockets. We both were trying to beat the boss at the same time, and then we were going to merge the save files back together afterwards. Whoever beat the boss first, and neither of us could do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these controls are too cramped. So I finally bought a Note 20 Ultra smartphone and a Razer Kishi controller. So I could have
To beat
really
Sonic.
big, mushy, and exactly. So I could turn the lag correction stuff in RetroArch on, which takes a lot of CPU power. And I ran it 3 frames ahead, and I was finally able to beat that fucking boss. And now I've spent like $1,500. But
I
Classic.
played that one game. Oh my gosh.
I mean, it was time to get a phone upgrade anyways. My Pixel 3 was finally paid it off, so I'm like, all right, let's get myself something fancy. But the Kishi I got because I'm like, all right, let's just go all out. If we're gonna get the fancy phone, let me get
Yeah, with the 865 in it, screw it.
with the 865 Plus. Yeah, forget about it. Come on.
Oh, it's the Plus. That's right. Which means that you could be playing Switch games on it soon enough.
I could be. I've been trying 3DS. It totally works on it, and GameCube
Cool.
works fine, and Wii works amazing.
GameCube works fine.
GameCube works fine, and Wii. I was playing Mario Galaxy on it, and I was like, "How is this working? How is this running?" I was running it in 720p upscaled too, like, and GameCube I was running in 1080p.
What?
Yeah,
So this has an attachment, so you have physical buttons, right?
yeah. It has a direct attachment. It's not Bluetooth. It literally just clamps on, and it's directly compatible with the phone, so it turns it into a one.
Is it
device.
the C port? Is it connected on the C port?
USB-C port. Yep, and
Yeah.
it just barely fits the Note 20. It fits a lot of phones, including the Pixel phones, including iPhones. But
it might fit my Pixel 2 XL then.
yeah, oh yeah, no, yeah, Pixel 2 XL is compatible. An
Okay.
iPhone, I think you have to buy an iPhone version. But yeah, I just another off-topic tangent. But the Kishi is a legit controller for a phone, so I
That's a
get the feel.
handheld. That we can consider that a handheld.
I felt like I felt dirty though. Like I'm cheating on my baby, on my Retroid Pocket, on all my friends. I'm disgracing the server. I was in full shame mode with a blanket over me, like playing my beautiful.
You want to talk about shame? You know, my new baby, the Ambernick Micro 280V. That's my new jam.
Yeah, you're just a heretic now.
Dude, you're a traitor, man. Like,
I'm a
get off
traitor.
the server.
I'm a dirty traitor. Yeah, I can't fit my Retroid Pocket 2 in my pocket, my sweatpants pocket, without feeling like it's gonna fall on the ground and break the screen. This thing fits in my pocket just fine. I can sneak it in bed.
Your quarantine pants?
My quarantine pants. My jeans don't fit anymore. They used to fit fine. They used to fit like a loose fitted jean. Now they fit like skinny pants.
Right, so you got to get something that just is more pocketable. I get it. I can dig it.
Well, how's that thing going? How are you liking it?
I'm trying to test it out. Sonic 2 works well with my with my Pocket Go 2. The size would blink whenever I'd be in a special stage, so it's using the same operating system, the Dingus, the Open Dingus.
Dingus, yeah.
And I'm testing out Drill Dozer because it uses the shoulder keys. I want to see how fatigue or how soon my hands fatigue, because someone on one of the server channels was asking how easy does one fatigue on this device. But I don't plan on playing any long RPGs or action games too long.
That's some gourmet level first world questions there, huh?
Exactly. Yeah. It's my my quarantine, like which little console best suits me now? Which one fits me the best?
These are the real questions. We all of us here on this podcast have a problem. We love our handhelds, probably more than just about anything else. That's a beautiful thing. Like that's what life is made for. Just indulgences, indulgence. Did I say that right? Indulgences,
Mm-hmm.
and
It's the little things,
well, yeah, little things
like spending
kids,
$1,500 on retro gaming when you already have other devices.
Justify it by saying it's your main phone.
Right. But it did annoy me that I had like Discord pop-ups come up, people asking for this and that, messages. I'm like, fuck this. Put it down, pick up my RP2 again, and I'm actually back on my RP2 now because it's like a nice dedicated little handheld. And I can hold my daughter in one arm, I can RP2 with my other.
Yep.
So,
You RP2 in one hand? What game are you playing?
Well, role-playing games for one thing.
Yeah.
You can RP2 in one hand. But I was putting my daughter down for a nap today, and I was trying on my big boy setup, and I'm like, this isn't gonna work. I put it down, RP2, load it up, tried a little bit of Clock Tower, and tried to work my way through the very start of another Neo Geo Pocket game called, oh God, what is it? Dark Army, something. It's a role playing game. It's actually kind of similar to Blood Omen: Legacy of Kain. I don't know if you guys have heard of that game.
Of course.
Well, good. It's kind of like a Diablo-esque game.
Oh, cool.
That one's pretty easy to one hand until a zombie comes up and you got to use your other hand to hit the slash button.
I was one-handing Legend of Dragoon the other day because my daughter fell asleep on top of me.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to hit the button combos with a 7-year-old drooling on you is a little complicated.
Going around and like, okay, like guys, gotta hit that A button. Come on.
Well, and then
did you wake up? Nope.
When it does that reversal and the it goes and the orange circle pops up, and you're only there for the X,
Right.
Shit.
Like, no! Why did I have kids?
Only time I played like that was when my son was a newborn and he wouldn't sleep through the night unless someone was holding him. So I had to hold him in one hand and stay awake, and I would play Game Boy Color Pokemon.
Yeah.
And with my hand, and being that it's like a vertical console, it's easier to use the directional and the action buttons with one hand.
Yeah, my old GBA SP got a lot of use when my daughter was very small.
Yeah.
Mostly just for Castlevania, though. So
I was actually playing Assassin's Creed Origins when my daughter was born.
Yeah.
The first console she ever got to touch as an infant, as a brand new from the hospital baby, was a PS4 controller. I was very proud.
That's fun.
She actually held it, and I swear with the other hand, she flipped me off. I took a cute little picture. She actually flipped me off her first day home from the hospital. And I'm like, oh, that's my kid. That's my kid. Flipping me off. She's probably like, why are you playing Sony? You should have a Nintendo. Because now she just wants Mario and more Mario. And Doom.
Doom? Really?
You got her into
classic Doom?
Classic Doom. She loves Doom for Super Nintendo. I don't know. She just gravitates towards Doom, and she likes shooting demons. And she's 3, so.
Well, I'm super excited to give my kiddo her RP2 for Christmas.
The purple one.
Yeah, the purple one with the blue buttons, because I'm swapping them out for my wife's when they finally come in.
Yeah, buddy.
So she can have mermaid colors. But she's been for a while there. She was curious, and now she's like officially terribly curious about my RP2 because I mess with it constantly. You guys know this. I open it up and do stuff inside of it and test things and all that kind of stuff constantly. And so now she just has nothing but questions about that and bees. She's really into bees. I don't know what that's about.
I mean, we got to keep the bees alive for the planet to be unfucky. So
yeah.
Well, I made the mistake of explaining to her how queen bees work and that they actually make multiple queen bees at the same time, and then the queen bees emerge and fight each other, and she is just stuck on that.
Her Viking nature is coming out.
Yeah. Well, she asked me probably every other day, so why do queen bees kill their sisters? And it's like survival of the fittest, kid. We've talked about this. What? But she's just like, Yeah, and she's really obsessed with it. That and the RP2.
Just tell her just like Daddy had to do with Aunt Linda. That's why she's not with us anymore. She's like,
Somebody's got to be on top.
what? Somebody in this family's got to be on top.
But yeah, I'm really excited to get her into some of these. She won't see it as retro gaming because she's not allowed to. She doesn't have her own phone or anything like that. So she'll just see it as a game, and I think that's one of the better ways to do it.
Dude, that's beautiful, man. That's
Starting from the beginning.
I'm very excited.
that's really cool. So Sean, do you have any Hellspawn yet in your life?
Not yet, but maybe one day. Hopefully.
There's no rush. It's a beautiful thing.
Enjoy your time.
It's 2020.
Enjoy your time. Yeah, take care of yourself, and we're really looking forward to the games coming out.
Yeah, I appreciate it, you guys.
Do you want to drop any links or social media for the listeners?
Sure, if you guys want to follow me. I used to post on EsotericMods, but now I made a new Instagram called Esoteric_Games. So that's where I'll be posting.
Cool. Is that the name of your company?
Yep, esoteric.games. Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Well, shout out to the RH Handhelds Discord server. We love you guys. And shout out to Retroid in general for bringing us together. Appreciate it.
And shout out to our host Retro. Great job hosting tonight, man.
Buddy.
Thanks, man. Thanks,
been a
guys.
good experience.
Y'all, he made a Google Doc, all right?
Yeah.
For this.
Yeah.
And last but not least, let us thank Esoteric Sean for coming on.
Yeah, buddy. Good to have you. Good talking about Game Boys and your exciting projects that are upcoming. Cool stuff.
Yeah,
Sean, I'm following your new Instagram now, and the artwork on here is awesome. You got all the pixel graphics, and this is sweet. So everybody follow Sean. Esoteric_games.
Sean, I have a question for you. What are your thoughts on all these Chinese knockoff consoles and retro gaming machines? Do you have any of them? Have you ever played any of them?
When I have a YouTube channel and I get emails from these companies all the time, like they want to send me one so I can do a review. And I've done one. And no, actually I've done two. I just remembered. But I really like them. I think that, what's kind of nice about them is you don't worry about them so much. Like you spend all this money on like the real consoles, like Game Boys and whatever. And, I put those on my shelf because it's like something that's like precious.
Yeah.
And it's like I hardly ever play them. Like I do play them sometimes, but like I have a couple that are just like, I don't care about. But what's nice about, these knockoff ones is that, it's not a big deal if they break. So it's kind of just like
Exactly.
Yeah, I got a couple extras to test on because I'm doing some hardware mods, and we've been also working on custom firmware.
Do a drop test.
And drop test. And one of the guys that is basically the lead for the custom firmware is like super, super concerned about screwing the console up, like with testing and things. And I'm sitting here like I've been soldering on it. I've dropped it probably 20 times at this point, just from going back and forth. And I love it, but there's nothing about it that's irreplaceable to me, especially since it's new stock,
Exactly.
Mm.
Yeah, the 280V is half the price of my Game Boy Micro, and not only that, that's not even that's not even putting into account the software. So if I had the software EverDrive in there, that's $100. That's like 1/3 of the cost.
Can you even get EverDrives anymore? They're pretty much out of stock everywhere, right?
No, they're still making them. They actually made a new one for the Game Boy Advance. It's flush now, and that's super
Ooh,
aesthetic for me. My holiday exchange partner is getting me that for the Game Boy.
nice.
What about the Game & Watch? Because that just came out, right?
They just
True.
released a Game & Watch?
They just released, it looks like a Game Boy Micro, but it actually is a real Game & Watch that Nintendo just dropped. You can buy in stores, and it not only tells the time, but you can play like 5 Game & Watch games on it.
You can play 5?
A couple, you can play like a couple Mario games, and then there's a couple like actual Game & Watch games from the 80s on it.
Are we talking about the same thing? Because I saw one that Nintendo's releasing that had Mario 1 and Mario 2 on it.
It has those, and then I just watched a video on it today.
But no Mario 3. That's so weird. That's the
no-
iconic one.
Well,
For me,
okay,
at
it's
least.
Mario 1 and it's Mario 2, The Lost Levels, so it's the Japanese Mario 2.
Yeah, we're talking about the same thing then.
Okay, we are talking about the same thing, but there also is Game & Watch games on there too.
Oh.
There might be like, to pull the video up, you might have to like put in a code to get to it, or do some sort of trick, or beat the game, or you have to unlock them.
Oh.
Those are the prototype Game Boys.
Yep, and people have nostalgia for them. I have no memory of them because they were way before my time.
Never had one either.
Yeah, those were definitely just before my time.
Right. I mean, DMG came out when I was like 6 or 7, 6, I think. So
I don't know if they came to America. Were they released in America? Do you know, Sean?
I think some of them were, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, and it was never on my radar.
I went to buy one today because they're $50. Seems reasonable, but they're just sold out everywhere. Like, you had to get a pre-order, but Nintendo released it the same day as was it Xbox One X or PS4? What else dropped today? One of those new gen consoles dropped. Yep. Nintendo also wanted to release a console. They released the Game & Watch as like this big.
People always think of Nintendo as, as essentially like the family console and stuff, but they do lots of little things that are just tiny fuck yous,
Yeah, it was amazing. There's a lot of posts on the internet today, like, PS5, sure, whatever. I'm buying a Nintendo Game & Watch. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm a Sony fanboy, and I don't even care about PS5 until like it's readily and easily available and not in white. So,
well, they made those. I don't know if you guys saw. I think we talked about it on the BRB Discord. Sony went after a company that was making the replacement shells.
Right, the faceplates, and they got sued, whatever, and cease and desist.
I mean, what?
Yep.
They hit them for a copyright violation. I mean, what?
I would have bought a PS5 this year, possibly, had
Oh,
I been
yeah.
able to buy a black faceplate.
A black. I like the red a little bit too, but probably black.
It is what it is. I was going to say, Sean, what were the 2 handhelds from China that you have tested? You mentioned there were 2.
I tested the BitBoy version 2. Oh yeah, and the Arcade 2020, yeah. Which I found out was like, they stole all the software and everything from that, so I felt kind of bad posting that video, but yeah.
You didn't know.
Go Advanced Arcade 2020 stole from them, but they took it and made it beautiful. Like, the purple clear shell is really cool, and they added an analog stick. So at least they did it with style.
Yeah, it's a nice little console.
The whole IP landscape in China is stressful between these companies. Yeah, Retroid is with very good reason.
Right.
They're extremely concerned
About
when
Retroid.
when we were talking about specifically about Retroid OS and access to their storefront and access to their servers for the update. But when we were talking to them about custom firmware, that was the first thing that they asked us about. Like, what are you wanting to mess with Retroid OS? And we're like, no, I swear on everything that is holy that we're just wanting to put Lineage on this thing. That's it. I promise you.
Yeah, we just want to turn it into a Game & Watch. That's all we want to do.
Well, and then after they figured out, after they confirmed that we were serious and we weren't interested in messing with their stuff, you know, that after that they were just like, oh, here's everything, you know.
Yeah.
Anything we asked them for, they were just like, yep, let's go.
Here's all the good stuff. Just don't touch the stuff that nobody.
No one cares about.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of the basic users, a lot of the new users are concerned with it, and I always feel bad because I tell them I don't use it and I don't have any information for you.
Well, and that's the thing. The ROS, the Retroid OS is definitely the entry level, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's actually super stable and everything. It just doesn't have the features that us nerd lords are.
It looks like it's much like Open Dingix on the other handhelds. It looks like BitBoy. You're mentioning BitBoy, Sean. Which that's a pretty good console. You know, it's a little more flimsy than the RK 2020, as far as I can tell. Actually,
definitely not as powerful.
Not as powerful. It has some screen tearing issues. I gave mine away to one of our members today, actually, because I was like, I'm done with this. Just
well, you still got your GPD, so
I have 3 GPDs.
Oh,
and 2 RP2s. I have my PSP Go, my PS Vita, and my giant crazy Kishi Ultra setup.
How's it going with the Vita?
I have not touched it. I turned it on to confirm that it doesn't have the firmware that I wanted so I could hack it. And I turned it back off, and it's sat there since then. I'm the ultimate first world problem. Yes.
Oh, shit.
Glad we can laugh. I'm just eating my pizza. This is good. This has been everybody here at BRB Gamer, Stubborn Pixel,
Thor,
Retro GM, and Sean.
I don't know if I was supposed to say something, but yep, and me, EsotericSean.
Oh shit, we should have done a birthday shout out. I guess we're still rolling.
Yeah. We'll cut it in.
Just want to say to our main man, our producer Choosh, happy 30th. We love you.
Happy birthday, bud. You're the best.
You the best.
Thanks for everything you do, man.
Seriously.
Handsome as hell too, gotta say. That's an Australian.
Sweet, sweet Aussie chocolate.
Aussie chocolate.